is my barbecue grill. Now don't laugh, because that is a very highly modified barbecue grill. I took the whole bottom plate where the jets are, modified the jet, enlarged the openings, and believe me, it took a while. There's like 300 little orifices, and I drilled them over, I ain't gonna say what size, but they're big. This oven can get up to 750 degree heat when I got the wrap around the outside of it. As you can see, I got it pocketed for a 6-cylinder. But anyway, as it is now, it's going to be close to level is what I'm going to get. But this is pouring mode. First, what I'm going to do, and see, here's my little plate to set on there. I put that on, tighten it down, and then I'll hook this to it and put there. And I don't put much, just about 15 or 20 pounds, just enough once it gets hot and it's in there, just to pressurize it, just to act like a pusher, to make it kind of fill everything in. And that's it. But what we do first is I'm going to take my 2 pieces out here that I got. I know where I'm going to set it now, because what I got to do here is position it. I don't want that heat getting on the plate. I want the heat getting somewhere like that right there. Let it heat that part of the head up first, then I'll pick it up with my gloves, tilt it, and then that's when I add my chemical in. Like I said, it don't have to be real hot. And what I've got is, I've got the official 2001 Star Trek laser temperature finder that they use in all the 2001 Enterprise series. I used to get a kick out of that when I seen that, like it's some space age weapon. But anyway, I just hit it. Right now I'm showing about 58 degrees. That's about right in here, 59. And what I want to see, I'd like to see it get up to about 125 or 130. I let the head get hot first, then pour the chemical in. It won't crack the head, but it's going to do a lot better adhesive, and then I put the pressure on, just, you know, enough to work with where it ain't bad. All right, I'm going to go ahead and heat the head up and get it warming, and then we'll get back to this in just a few minutes when I let you watch me pour the chemical in. Here, it just takes a little while. I don't want to get too crazy and get it too hot where it's going to burn my rubber on the plate. It's kind of a fine line, and it don't have to be real hot when you're putting it on there. Like I'm paying attention to the chamber right now. I'm seeing 125 degrees, but notice I can put my hand on the chamber. When I get where I can put it on there and it starts getting too hot, that's when I'll turn it up and get ready for the pour. Because remember, we're going to fill it up and put the pressure on it, but then while it's still warm, I got to pick the head up and pour the excess out in my drain bucket, unscrew the plate and put the head in there, and then it cooks for about 2 hours. It just really bakes it in there. I sure as hell ain't charging enough for it, I know that. But actually, probably most places, I've checked on them, they don't do it as good as me. Most of them, they call it a repair fill. They don't do it for longevity. They get between $150 and $200 to do it, and that's for one head. Wow, I'm a nice guy. It's time. Let me get one more photo. All right. Notice that I pulled the heat down, and I'm gonna go ahead now with my gloves, and I'm gonna position it. I was reading about 110 to 120 degrees on the chamber, which means this side's gonna be a lot hotter. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up and get this ready to level it. Using what I had, I used my stands for putting the car up on the ramps. I mean, hell, it ain't nothing trick going on here. Okay. I just don't want to make, boy, it would be a mess if something happened where this slipped, so that's the only thing that bothers me. I'm probably going to end up making some kind of fixture if I want to start doing this a lot, which apparently a lot of people have inquired about it. More of a repair purpose, actually. Because, man, if that let go, I'd be in a big bucket of shit here. I keep forgetting on YouTube. Okay, sorry about that, guys, ladies, kids. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, just takes a minute to finesse it to get it. I want it just right, like Goldilocks. You've heard of a Goldilocks planet? Well, I'm a Goldilocks head guy. Alright, anyway, I take my hand. Alright, that's as warm as I want to get it. I'm going to do a check, let y'all see. About 150 degrees is what I'm hitting on that side. 144. Alright, that right there is it. I don't want to get no hotter than that. Now, for the secret chemical or trick, this is top secret stuff here. Hold on. You're going to get a big laugh from a lot of you people, and you're going to think it don't work. But believe me when I tell you, I've had many years of trying different chemicals. Of course, I can go the expensive route. They make some ceramic stuff inside this world. But these are 882s. We're on a budget. We just need something that flat does the job and stays in there. How about this? You go down to your local AutoZone and get K&W nanotechnology in a green bottle. I've tried them all. This seems to work the best. Head gasket and block repair. You know, the stuff that you put in your radiator. This is what I use for number 2. It's the most economical and best, but still it's expensive. This is about $22, $23 for a bottle, and it takes 2 of them. The good thing is, it's reusable. You got to shake the fire out of it. Once it fills all the way up, and you do your pressure and you seal, you drain this back in the bucket and you can put it back in the bottles. It uses a certain amount of it, but that be it right there. Just nothing really spectacular. So what you got is you got about $45 in the chemical. You're going to have $20 in a can of propane, because it's going to use 1 full can. Because after you drain the excess out, what you got to do is you got to cook it for about 3 hours to make it really harden, and you shut it off and let it cool down. This is why I'm not going to be able to give Marty and Christi the head tomorrow. Holidays was pretty rough. They really wanted to pick it up. They're going to have to get it Monday, and I hope they're not too mad, but I don't shortcut. I don't believe in it. I believe in giving people what they pay for, even if they cuss me for it sometimes. Okay? So, anyway, get back to you in just a second as I'm getting ready to pour it. Alright, here we go. Just hate to lose it, so I go pretty slow. Got a lot of copper in it. You can see how copperish this stuff is. Okay, now I'm going to go over to this side. Okay, back over here. Okay, there's 1 bottle down. I'm barely seeing anything starting to come through. I'm going to turn the heat down just for a minute. One thing I don't want to do is get her too hot. Okay, now let's finish the job. I believe that a big part of this is the shock of this being at room... Okay, here we go. The shock of this being at room temperature and the head being warmed is a big part of this. Okay. You can see it's boiling, and also you can see that my dad blame room is off. Alright, hold on just a second. Now, where we're at with it is, as you can see, I'm just at, I'm not saying it's level, but it don't have to be perfect. But you can see the copper, and it's got a boiling. It's like it's boiling. I don't know if I can catch that with the zoom. I'll try. The reflection of the light. Now, my eyes are kind of bad. I'm holding my hand over the light, but I can assure you I'm sitting here looking at it, and you can see the boiling and the glimmer where it's cooking it. All right, let's go the other side. Okay, you can see the boiling pretty good here. It's bubbling. What you're seeing, the difference in height, my building, my barn is off level. As a matter of fact, in one of the videos where I'm pouring aluminum, you can see where I didn't realize my barn had sunk that much, my building, and it almost burnt the whole building to the down. That video was no joke, but I posted it. I don't care, because, if you can't take a joke on yourself, there ain't much to you. But I burned a pair of shoes almost to my toes to keep my building from getting burnt down. But you can see it where I'm not perfectly level. But hey, it's all right, because that little bit right there in that area, that's fine. The main thing is this whole head is filled. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this thing sit here for a little while on its temperature, and I'm going to watch it, and then I'm going to take it and empty all this out. Let me see where I'm at now. 140. Let's turn some heat on. I think I can stand just a little bit more, but I don't want to burn my dad blame plate up. No, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and pressurize. All right. We're ready now to begin the pressurization process. So let me back up a minute and get everything on, and we'll get back now. Here's the part that's kind of scary. I got to put this on and not disturb it too much. Wow, I don't like that. I definitely am going to have to make me some kind of fixture where it don't spill. Alright, that's good and tight. Okay, now, as you can see, I'm ready at this point to connect it. Let me get a picture of that for y'all. Okay, now I'm going to take my plunger, put it in. Now I'm going to pull it to not a whole lot, about 20 pounds. No, let's go to 30. And another thing, what this will tell me is now I tightened up that plug. It's on 30 pounds. Let's look at the dial. Okay. And once you pull that trigger, it ain't releasing nowhere. It's got captive discharge from here to there. So let's just see how good it holds. It looks to me like it's sealing perfect. What little bit of bubble there was, that's how good this stuff is with what they call their nanotechnology. If you read the instructions on the back, which I'll take a picture and give you the part number on this, it shows how it works. So right now, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to turn the heat on all the way. And I'm going to let it get on up a little bit. So it's going to have the pressure pushing it into the valley. Better get this out of the way. I don't want to hurt it. This is going to be pushing air pressure along with the... This is going to be pushing air pressure at 30 pounds along with the heat, building it up, making it fill all that water jacket area. And like I told you, when you do this to them after full porting, man, this thing will live forever. Because remember, it's meant, the good thing about this, it's meant to work with antifreeze and where areas of rust. That's why it's the perfect additive. Okay, we'll get back with this in a few minutes and check the pressure, but as you can see, it seems to be holding its own. I have not pulled that trigger any, so let's just give it a few minutes to cook, And then I'll disconnect the air pressure and pull the pieces back off, and then we're going to dump the fluid. That'll be fun, but thank God I got them leather gloves. Like I said, the temperature right now is around 150 in that range, so let's let it go for a while. It's been there about 10 minutes. I don't want to burn my dadblame rubber up, so what I'm going to do is right now, just for a minute, I'm going to go ahead and shut the heat off. And I'm going to release the air pressure. Okay, now that's removed. And I'm going to go ahead and begin the process of taking it apart and get the bucket ready to dump the fluid. Okay, now all I'm going to do is take the head and dump all the chemical inside here. It is pretty heavy. As you can see, it is steamy hot, not quite to boiling, but it is pretty hot. Now, what I gotta do is set it up for just a minute and get ready to remove all the bolts. Okay, so there's my excess right there. It feels warm to the touch, but nothing dangerous, and it's still good and glittery, totally reusable. Alright, now I'm gonna pick it up, carry it over there, start unscrewing it, take it apart because it's got to go back on the oven. Okay, as you can see now, plates off, ends off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the top on it, and I'm going to bring it up probably to around 200 for a few minutes. Let it get good and hot. I mean, you can feel the coating in there. But more importantly, you can see that's not rubber right there. That is the copper coating of it, where it was more on one side than the other. Okay, that right there concludes it. That's pretty much how you do it. Now, like I said, I've actually, in the beginning, years ago, when we were playing with this, we just used duct tape. We took duct, as long as you don't get it with the duct tape, I'm thinking around 120, 110 degrees, and then you just set it in there. Once you get it hot where it's boiling, where you put it in and it sits, it won't boil because it'll bust through. But if you can just get it hot enough, then just cut the heat off, keep it contained, and let it sit for a while, it really does the trick. Now, a lot of you might be saying, well, there's other stuff. What about bowling ball glue? What about the gas tank repair sealant? Okay, there's all kinds of things you can use, all right? I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I can tell you this about that green bottle. We was using it 5 or 6 years ago when I busted through and had to weld it up. If there was any porosity holes from the weld, then we put that in there, and we was using tape, mind you. We'd pressure test it in the pressure tester, and then with some of the chemical going through, then put tape in, fill it in there and heat, and the stuff was so good. We run the whole car a season or two, never had leak one come out of it. We've also used it back in the early times as an anchor before we got into the more expensive stuff. Now, the level 1 process, that chemical I use is $350 for a gallon, and it is the bomb. Of course, you know, you'd really have to charge for that, but this way you can do this at home. You got a barbecue grill, a couple quarts of this stuff, some duct tape put on there, put it up level, fill it. I mean, if you're going to pour it your own heads, or you know, you think you might have went too far, you want some security, it's something you can do, but it absolutely, the coating it puts on, I can stand by this product and tell you, we use it to seal porosity holes that when you seen the pressure testing bubbles, it wasn't bubbling, it was kind of like a geyser at 30 pounds, you could see it squirt. This stuff went in there after it set like I did it, and it sealed it up. One other thing we did do, once we done that to it, we did put a quart in the radiator to let it soak through. to act like a backup for it. But as you can see, that's how you do it. And Marty and Christy, I hope this is kind of how you imagine.